Hey everybody, this video is going to give you an overview of the instructions for your research essay. So if you're watching this video, excellent, great. um, yeah, make sure that you know the expectations for this one. Like, read the instructions. I think that is half the battle in life, is figuring out how to follow instructions. I still struggle with that. Like, I'm about to have to re-sign up for my healthcare stuff through work, and it's just this whole long process, and it's easy to get confused. But if you just kind of stick with it, you'll figure your way through this. So please do refer to the instructions frequently. The instructions are what the rubric, like the grading criteria, are based off of. So, this is a big project. This is your last big thing. It's 1,500 words, and that's not my choice. That is one of those requirements of the class so that it transfers and all of that. So this essay does need to be 1,500 words, give or take a little bit. And it does need to incorporate 5 sources from the Northeast State databases. So this is an academic research essay, and part of the thing that you're required to do here is learn how to research in an academic sort of way, like use articles and that stuff from academic sources instead of just Googling like random stuff or looking at the AI overview, that kind of thing. So that is part of the requirements here. So, if you turn your paper in and it's all just like random stuff from Google, even Google Scholar, like that's not going to be adequate. All right. So part of the assignment is that you must use the library databases, because that is a skill that you will need, not just for this class, but like going forward. It's just like good to have. And there's a whole week about that. So don't you fret. So yeah, 1,500 words, 5 sources from the Northeast State library databases. And your research essay should investigate a cause and effect relationship. So make sure you're really clear on what cause and effect, how cause and effect works. Read that patterns chapter. There are good like vocab words, and I think like even transition words towards the end. So that is a really, really good resource. So this one is going to be, I'm going to ask you to base the structure of your essay around a question that leads to a thesis. So we're going to start off with looking at research questions. So your research question is just the thing that is going to guide you through your paper. The idea is that your research question is going to be something that you're actually curious about, that you don't necessarily know the answer to, and that you'd like to find out more. Curiosity is a great motivator, and if you can find something you're curious about to ask a question about, that will help you get through this project a lot easier than if you just choose something easier, that kind of thing. So ask an interesting question, brainstorm it a little bit. Yeah, it'll be more fun. I also suggest that you ask a question / choose a topic that has to do something with your major or your career field. So if you're going into nursing, maybe some like nursing related question would be good. And that question won't just be like, what is nursing? That question will be at the college level a little bit more specific. It'll be, we'll see. We'll get into the research questions later. So if you don't want to write something that's about your career field, that's valid. So maybe you're going through something. People are always going through something in these classes, right? In the background. So, if you're going through a divorce, or you're about to have a baby, or you're, I don't know, figuring out your taxes or that kind of thing, feel free to use this paper as a way to explore something that matters to you. Just because we're doing things academic, just because the word academic is attached to all of this, doesn't necessarily mean it has to be super dry and uninteresting. I hope your research question is interesting to you, because that's what's going to make for a good paper, and that's what's going to kind of power you through this. Curiosity is a fantastic mindset. It's kind of the only reason and the only way to learn anything. Yeah, so the scope of your question is something you're going to have to work with a little bit. So make sure that it's narrow enough to be thoroughly explained and explored in 1,500 words. So that does mean it needs to be kind of narrow. So the example that I always use is climate change. If you are wanting to write your paper about climate change, and that's the only topic, right? If your scope is just broad climate change across the board, we all know there are like books and books and books out there, and articles and articles and articles, and all this research. Like there's just so much information about climate change that it would be kind of impossible to look thoroughly at it in 1,500 words. People have looked thoroughly at like one element of it in a whole book. All right. So think about narrowing it to something where you can learn something, but also like kind of be specific. Okay. So you can start with a broad idea and refine it as you go. All right. With preliminary research, you're entering a scholarly conversation, so it's appropriate to look at stuff before you really pick things out. I set this up weird. Sorry, I'm not restarting this video now. No. Look through here. This is kind of the stuff that we're going to go through. So one of the things that I need you to know about the structure of this essay is that we're not going to put the thesis in the introduction. We're going to play with that a little bit. In the introduction, you're going to have your research question. Okay, so we're going to work on establishing a research question, and you will include your finished product research question in your introduction. Your body paragraphs will go on as normal. They will answer elements of that question using cause and effect analysis. Then you're going to present your thesis in the conclusion. Now, normally, and this isn't always, but normally, English class will ask you to put the thesis at the beginning. There's no specific, like that's not necessarily better. And I think my experience with this essay is that if you center the research question like at the beginning and then lead up to the thesis, it flows so much better, and it helps you keep that kind of curious mindset throughout the process, but also in how you write. Okay. So yeah, just make sure you're reading this. Make sure you're using the resources that I have provided for you, and you will be good to go. This is, this process it's multi-step. If you get lost anywhere along the way, please ask me questions. I like these papers. I learned so much random trivia, which I love, and I would be more than happy to talk through yours with you. All right, bye.